Leah and Lana Carter were identical twins from Chicago, inseparable, ambitious, and unstoppable, until a glittering invitation from a Dubai sheikh turned their dream into a nightmare. Within days of landing in luxury, one twin vanished without a trace, and the other returned home broken, carrying a secret so dark it would shatter everything the world thought it knew about glamour, power, and trust. It began like a dream. Leah and Lana Carter were 24-year-old identical twins from Chicago, known on social media for their travel vlogs and matching fashion shoots. Their online world was full of curated perfection, beaches, coffee shops, and brand deals that paid enough to make them feel unstoppable. One morning, buried among hundreds of fan messages, came a direct message from someone claiming to represent a Dubai-based businessman named Sheikh Karim Al-Rahman. The message was short, polite, and promising. The Sheikh had seen their work, admired their charm, and wanted to invite them to Dubai for a collaboration project involving luxury fashion, tourism, and social media promotion. The offer included first-class flights, 5-star accommodation, and a personal photographer. The account looked legitimate, verified, with photos of expensive cars and charity events. The twins were thrilled. Lana, the more impulsive one, immediately began talking about outfits and locations. Leah, careful and grounded, hesitated. It all seemed too good to be true, but she didn't want to ruin her sister's excitement. After all, this could be their biggest opportunity, the kind of break influencers dreamed of. Over the next week, their inbox filled with confirmations. Travel documents were arranged, contracts sent, and calls made with professional-sounding assistants. The Sheikh's representatives emphasized safety and comfort, promising that the girls would be treated like family. Even their parents, though worried, were convinced by the polished communication. On the night before departure, Leah recorded a short video saying how excited she was, though her smile looked uneasy. Neither sister could have imagined that this message, written by a stranger across the world, would become the start of a mystery that no one would be able to fully explain, a story that would begin in glamour and end in terror. Leah and Lana had always lived in perfect symmetry, same clothes, same friends, even the same career dreams. But beneath the surface, differences had begun to grow. Leah was quiet and observant, the type who planned every post carefully and read contracts twice before signing. Lana, on the other hand, loved attention. She was bold, spontaneous, and willing to take risks if it meant fame. Their shared success on social media had created both pride and tension between them. Every photo shoot felt like a silent competition to see who could get more likes, more comments, more recognition. When the Dubai offer arrived, it became another test of their bond. Leah wanted to take time to verify everything, to research the company, the contacts, and the supposed sheikh. But Lana dismissed her worries, calling her too serious. She said opportunities like this didn't come twice. Leah gave in, not out of confidence, but because she couldn't imagine letting her sister go alone. They had always promised to face the world together, no matter what came their way. In the days before the trip, they shopped for new clothes and filmed a short vlog about their upcoming adventure. Lana looked radiant, full of excitement, while Leah smiled carefully, masking her unease. Their followers filled the comments with hearts and good wishes, unaware of what was coming. The night before their flight, Leah packed methodically while Lana blasted music and laughed about meeting royalty. Leah glanced at her sister and felt a strange chill, a sense that something was shifting between them. She couldn't explain why, but for the first time, she wondered if this trip might change them forever in ways neither could undo. The twins boarded their flight to Dubai on a bright April morning. From the moment they stepped into first class, everything seemed flawless. The luxury seats, the polite attendants, the sparkling city lights below. Lana filmed short clips for their followers, whispering about a secret collaboration. Leah tried to relax, but uneasiness followed her. The message that had once felt like a dream now seemed almost too perfect. Still, she told herself that fear would ruin the experience. She smiled for the camera and pretended to share her sister's thrill. When the plane landed, they were greeted by two men in suits holding signs with their names. A black Rolls-Royce waited outside the terminal. Cameras followed them as they stepped into the bright Dubai sun. The men explained that everything was part of a brand documentary, a behind-the-scenes project for international tourism. It sounded legitimate, so the twins played along, posing and waving for the cameras. The car drove them through spotless highways and glittering skyscrapers until they reached a luxury hotel overlooking the sea. Inside, everything shimmered: marble floors, gold-framed mirrors, and staff who addressed them by name. Their passports were collected for registration purposes. Leah hesitated, but one of the assistants assured her it was normal for VIP guests. Over the next 2 days, their schedule was tightly packed: fittings, photo shoots, and lavish dinners. Every move felt guided, almost rehearsed. Whenever Leah tried to explore alone, someone politely redirected her. Lana didn't notice, too distracted by gifts and attention. The twins had come for adventure, but Leah could sense that they had entered a world built on control, where luxury masked something darker lurking just beyond the lights. By the 4th day, the excitement had begun to fade. Leah started noticing things that didn't fit the perfect image they'd been shown. The Sheikh's team controlled everything: their meals, their movements, even their phone access. Whenever Leah tried to contact her parents, the hotel's Wi-Fi suddenly stopped working. Their schedules arrived every morning printed on elegant stationery, yet every activity led back to the same circle of people: the Sheikh's assistants, drivers, and photographers who never shared much about themselves. The Sheikh himself appeared rarely. When he did, it was always with quiet authority and a carefully crafted smile. He spoke softly, complimenting the twins on their influence and promising them long-term contracts. Lana glowed under his attention. Leah, however, found his presence unsettling. He never met her eyes for long. It was as if he was constantly calculating something behind his calm expression. Their 3rd evening together took place at a rooftop dinner overlooking the skyline. Leah noticed how the staff stood silently at a distance, watching. The Sheikh raised a toast, and everyone followed. When Leah asked a question about their return flight, the atmosphere changed. The assistants exchanged quick glances, and the Sheikh smoothly changed the subject. Back in their suite, Leah found that their passports were still missing. She went to the reception desk to ask about them, but the clerk politely refused, saying they were in the Sheikh's office for documentation. Lana laughed it off and told her sister to stop worrying, reminding her they were living the dream. That night, Leah barely slept. She kept thinking about how everything, from the smiles to the gifts, felt rehearsed. The luxury around her had started to feel like a cage, beautiful but locked from the outside. The invitation to the desert party came suddenly, written on thick golden paper and hand-delivered to their room. It promised a private royal celebration under the stars, attended by Dubai's elite. Lana was thrilled. She spent hours choosing her outfit, filming short clips for her followers before the staff collected their phones for privacy reasons. Leah wanted to refuse, but the assistants insisted it was part of their contract and that the Sheikh personally requested their presence. As night fell, luxury cars drove them miles beyond the city into the silent desert. The event site was breathtaking: tents lined with silk, glowing lanterns, and music echoing over the dunes. Guests arrived in masks, dressed in white and gold. Leah noticed something strange immediately. There were no other influencers or media figures, only older men and guarded staff. Cameras were set up around the tents, but no one seemed to know who was recording. The Sheikh greeted them warmly, his tone softer than usual. He led them toward the main tent, where a feast was laid out. The air smelled of perfume and burning incense. Lana seemed completely enchanted, laughing easily, unaware of Leah's growing panic. When the Sheikh suggested they split up to mingle with guests, Leah refused, but Lana followed him without hesitation. Hours passed, and Leah realized her sister hadn't returned. She began searching through the tents, asking staff members where Lana had gone. None of them answered. When she reached the edge of the camp, she saw 2 guards standing near a restricted area, blocking her path. One of them told her firmly to go back. For the first time, Leah felt truly trapped. The music was still playing, the lights still shining, but something had changed. The celebration had turned into something hollow and frightening. Somewhere beyond the dunes, Lana had vanished into the dark. 2 days later, Leah arrived back in Chicago alone. The airport cameras caught her walking through customs, pale and trembling, dragging only one suitcase. She looked disoriented, as if she hadn't slept in days. When the officer asked where her sister was, Leah muttered that Lana had decided to stay longer. Her voice was flat, her eyes distant. The officer noted her strange behavior, but allowed her to pass. It was the last normal record of Leah Carter before everything began to unravel. At home, she shut herself inside her apartment and refused to see anyone. Her once busy social media accounts went silent. Friends who messaged her received brief, confusing replies. Neighbors later told police they saw her staring out the window for hours, barely moving. Food deliveries piled up at her door. Something was clearly wrong, but no one knew how serious it was until a week later. Police were called when Leah's mother couldn't reach her for 2 days. Officers found her collapsed in her apartment, dehydrated and trembling, whispering her sister's name. On the table beside her was an unopened envelope stamped with a Dubai postmark. Inside was a short note written in Lana's handwriting that read, "Don't look for me. Please forget." Leah was taken to the hospital, where she spent several days recovering. When questioned, she gave inconsistent answers. At one point, she said Lana had run away with the Sheikh. Later, she claimed her sister was somewhere safe but couldn't return. Doctors diagnosed her with severe shock and trauma. News of the missing twins spread quickly, and soon, the Carter sisters' glamorous story turned into a global mystery. Only one thing was certain. Leah had returned, but a part of her had not come back from Dubai at all. Lana's disappearance was officially reported 10 days after Leah's return. Their mother, unable to reach either daughter, filed a missing person report that quickly reached the media. Within hours, headlines flashed across Chicago news outlets. Influencer twin missing after Dubai trip. The public was captivated. The glamorous images of the sisters now looked eerie in hindsight. Every smiling photo suddenly filled with hidden tension. When U.S. authorities contacted Dubai police, the initial response was slow. They claimed Lana Carter was not missing at all. According to travel records, she had checked out of the hotel and chosen to remain in Dubai voluntarily. A signed statement, supposedly from Lana, was sent to the investigators. But the handwriting was nothing like hers. Leah's parents were sure it was forged. The U.S. Embassy demanded to see proof of Lana's whereabouts. Dubai officials insisted she was staying at a private coastal resort owned by one of Sheikh Karim's companies. When investigators checked, the resort management denied having any guest by that name. Even more suspiciously, CCTV footage from the hotel where the twins stayed had been erased between the night of the desert party and the morning Leah was flown out. Meanwhile, Leah's mental state remained fragile. She avoided interviews, repeating that Lana was safe, but refusing to explain. Investigators noticed inconsistencies in her timeline, flight details that didn't match, missing hours she couldn't account for. Some began to suspect she was hiding something or protecting someone powerful. International pressure started building. Journalists uncovered rumors that the Sheikh's name had appeared in other missing persons reports involving foreign women. Still, no charges were filed. With each passing week, the truth seemed to slip further away, buried beneath wealth, influence, and silence. The case was officially reclassified as suspicious disappearance. For the first time, the detectives assigned to the case began piecing together the fragments of what had really happened in Dubai. They started with Leah's digital trail, her emails, messages, and browsing history. What they found painted a far darker picture than anyone had expected. Just hours before her return flight, Leah had searched phrases like "how to escape Dubai without passport" and "how to contact the U.S. Embassy secretly." There were also messages to an unknown Dubai number, deleted minutes after being sent. Tech experts later recovered a few of them. The last read, "I can't find her. They took her somewhere." Investigators confronted Leah with this evidence, but she shut down completely. She claimed she couldn't remember sending those messages and said she was told not to talk. Her behavior shifted from fear to confusion, as if she wasn't sure what was real anymore. It became clear that something, or someone, had terrified her into silence. Authorities reached out to the Sheikh's representatives again, who responded with carefully worded denials. They insisted the twins had left their sponsorship program on friendly terms and that Lana had later chosen to extend her stay independently. But their explanations didn't align with flight logs or timestamps. Leah's return ticket had been purchased by a different account entirely, one linked to a company based in the Cayman Islands. The deeper the investigation went, the stranger it became. Witnesses who had attended the desert party refused to speak. One assistant who had handled the sisters' passports abruptly resigned and disappeared. Dubai authorities quietly discouraged further questioning, citing national privacy concerns. Back in Chicago, detectives began to suspect that this was more than a missing person case. The pattern, the secrecy, the erasures, the control, all pointed to something organized and deeply hidden. And at its center stood a powerful man whose name no one dared to fully investigate. The investigation took a new turn when cybercrime specialists joined the case. Using encrypted data recovery tools, they traced a financial trail connected to the Sheikh's business empire. What began as a routine check into travel expenses led to something disturbing. A network of offshore bank accounts spread across Dubai, London, and the Cayman Islands. These accounts were linked not only to the Carter twins' trip, but also to transactions tied to several missing women from Europe, South America, and Southeast Asia. Each had been promised modeling contracts, luxury collaborations, or sponsorships that vanished after they disappeared. Authorities realized that Leah and Lana's story was not an isolated tragedy, but part of a much larger pattern. The Sheikh's companies had quietly funded multiple social media tourism projects, targeting young influencers with large followings but little real-world protection. The offers were always glamorous, luxury travel, exposure, wealth, but the outcomes were chillingly similar. Interpol became involved after U.S. investigators shared the findings. A joint task force discovered that many of the agents who contacted the victims were the same individuals using new names and fake brands. The supposed documentary company that invited the twins had no official registration anywhere. Its website had been deleted days after Leah returned to the U.S. Forensics also found large wire transfers to private security firms in Dubai, the same firms that reportedly managed the desert events. One payment was made the night of the twins' disappearance. While the Sheikh's public image remained untarnished, behind closed doors, his empire was being quietly dismantled by investigators gathering evidence. But without direct proof of what had happened to Lana, no arrest could be made. It was becoming clear that the truth was buried beneath layers of money, silence, and fear, a machine designed to erase anyone who got too close. Weeks turned into months before Leah finally agreed to meet with investigators again. She looked older, frilier, her once confident presence replaced by quiet exhaustion. At first, she said little, repeating that she didn't remember much. But after hours of questioning and reassurance, fragments of her memory began to surface, fragments that would reshape the case completely. Leah explained that after the desert party, she and Lana were taken to separate tents. The Sheikh had told them it was for individual interviews related to the sponsorship deal. She never saw her sister again after that moment. Later that night, Leah was awakened by shouting outside. When she stepped out, the camp looked chaotic, vehicles moving quickly, people whispering. She tried to find Lana, but two guards stopped her. They said her sister had gone for a private meeting and would return later. The next morning, Leah was rushed out of the camp and told her return flight had been moved earlier for safety reasons. She was given a designer handbag filled with cash and told not to worry. Her passport was handed back only minutes before boarding. The Sheikh never appeared again. Leah said she didn't argue. She just wanted to leave. But during the flight, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Her phone had been wiped clean. All messages, photos, and call logs were gone. Investigators documented everything she said, though much of it couldn't be proven. Still, her account fit the growing evidence: the missing footage, the fake companies, the deleted records. Leah admitted she had stayed silent because she believed people were watching her even after she returned home. Her testimony didn't solve the mystery of what happened to Lana, but it confirmed what investigators had begun to fear. The night in the desert had not been a party at all. It had been a cover for something far more sinister. 6 months after Leah's testimony, an anonymous email arrived at the U.S. Embassy in Dubai. It contained a single attachment, a grainy video file labeled Night of the Sands. Investigators opened it carefully, expecting another false lead. What they saw left the entire room silent. The footage, timestamped the night of the desert event, showed a dimly lit scene at the camp. Among the masked guests, a woman with long blonde hair. matching Lana's profile, was being led away by two men dressed in security uniforms. The clip lasted less than 30 seconds before cutting off abruptly. Forensic experts authenticated the footage, confirming it had not been tampered with. The SUV seen in the background was traced to a private security firm owned by one of Sheikh Kareem's cousins. The same firm had received a large payment from his offshore account that very night. Despite the mounting evidence, Dubai authorities hesitated to reopen the case, citing insufficient proof of a crime. Back in Chicago, Leah was shown the footage under supervision. She broke down instantly, identifying the woman as her twin. She said the way Lana moved, slightly tilting her head, the way she always did when nervous, was unmistakable. For investigators, it was the closest thing to confirmation that Lana had not left voluntarily. International media reignited the story, demanding justice for the Carter sisters. Protests appeared online under the hashtag #WhereIsLanaCarter, and pressure mounted on diplomatic channels. Journalists from several countries began digging into similar disappearances linked to the Sheikh's network. Weeks later, the anonymous sender was traced to a former employee of the Sheikh's media team, who disappeared before he could be questioned. The message he left behind was chillingly brief. Asterisk, there are more videos, but they won't let the world see them. Asterisk, the footage changed everything. What had started as speculation was now undeniable. Something had happened. Years have now passed since that night in the Dubai desert, but the mystery of Lana Carter has never been solved. Her body was never found, and no official record of her departure from the country exists. Sheikh Kareem Al Rahman vanished from public life shortly after the video surfaced. His businesses quietly shut down, and his online presence was erased. Every inquiry into his whereabouts was met with silence. Some claimed he fled to a private island. Others believed he was protected by powerful allies who ensured his name would never face the courts. Leah lives in a quiet suburb outside Chicago, far from the flashing lights that once defined her life. She rarely leaves home, avoiding cameras and refusing interviews. Those who have seen her say she still sits two places at her table, as if waiting for Lana to walk through the door. The trauma never left her. Sometimes she tells reporters she feels her sister's presence in dreams, calling for help she can't give. The fame they once chased became a haunting reminder of what was lost. The investigation remains open under the joint supervision of U.S. and international authorities. Every few months, new rumors appear. A sighting in Morocco, a photo in Turkey, a woman who looks just like Lana boarding a private jet, but none are ever verified. For those who followed the case, one detail remains unforgettable. Two identical sisters left Chicago chasing glamour and opportunity. Only one returned, carrying secrets too heavy for words. Somewhere, between the gold-lit skyline and the endless desert, the truth about what happened to Lana Carter still hides, buried beneath power, silence, and the shadows of a paradise that was never real.